All right. What's the difference between a 3 loan a month loan officer versus a 20 loan a month loan officer? You're listening to the right episode of the Loan Officer Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Kiles and Carl White. What a great topic. Like we just said, you know what? There's got to be a difference. So, Carl, tell us, what are your thoughts on that? Like I'm closing 3 loans a month versus somebody who's closing 20 or more.
So, boy, that's a great question.
It is.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna so we see it all the time with our members,
Yeah.
but one advantage that you and I have is, we've actually done this stuff. We're both current branch managers, but before we even branch managers, we did our own production, right? Our
That's
own
right.
production, and we've gone from 3 to 20, right, of personal production. And we'll do another episode like from 20 to 50. My best month was 72 of
Let's
personal
go.
production.
Yeah.
I would hover like around 50,
Yeah. Yeah.
45, 52, somewhere in that neighborhood. So we'll do another episode from 20 to like 20 to 50 because it's different again. But
Yeah.
let's go 3 to 20. So I would say, I mean, it really comes down to something really simple that we've talked about quite a bit here is the person closing 20
Mm.
is simply making more offers.
Yeah.
I mean, it really just goes that simple. They're just making more off. But here's the thing. They feel, I hate to use the word prepared because I don't want you to ever wait until you feel ready because you'll never
That's
feel
right.
ready,
That's
right?
right. Yeah.
But I think they feel capable or bold enough. Let's say that word. I
Yeah.
think they feel bold enough to make more offers because they have some things in place to make those offers,
Mhm.
which is, help.
Yep.
I think one of the hardest things that I've experienced in my career, both my own personal career and helping loan officers in my own personal branch, and then Steve, you and I helping tens of thousands of loan officers across the nation, is getting them to let go
Mm. Mhm.
and like get some help, and then let the help do the help,
Yeah.
and you do the prospecting,
Mhm.
instead of diving back into the like being my helper's assistant.
Yeah.
I think so. I think it's simply making more offers and getting more help, and then we can dive deeper into like what do you mean by making more offers. But I would say so. I've actually got a list here. You want me to read them all off, and then we'll pick them
You
apart?
read yours because when we were talking about this in the green room, I wrote a couple of things down. But you know what I love? You take the complex and you make it real. Like, yeah, I was telling somebody yesterday, I was like, Carl's always got the wiser answer, which is sales is not. I mean, that I think that's the biggest thing. What's the biggest difference from 3 to 20 is, dude, you're just selling and you realize it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. So I want to hear your list and I got some thoughts I'll add to it.
All right.
So,
So my list is getting help.
okay.
Number two, letting go.
Mm-hmm.
Two totally different things. I can get help and
Yeah.
not let go. Right.
Yeah.
Number three, focus on the offers.
Mm,
That's the main focus. Like, what's your primary responsibility? Making offers. So just, and we'll go over these and then we'll go deeper into each one. Number four kind of goes in the same vein. No paper chasing,
yes.
right? So this
Yes.
is a no. Let me get the bank stub zone,
Yeah.
right? One, two, three, four. Number five,
Yep.
investing in their business,
That's
right?
good. Yeah.
Understanding that if you want a faster engine, you got to buy a turbocharge. And by the way, turbocharges, they cost money, but you win
More
more
races.
races
That's it.
and you win more race money, right?
Mm,
And then my last one is they likely recharge their batteries
ooh.
more. So I can tell you right now,
Yeah.
closing 5 loans
Yeah.
was the hardest I've ever worked.
That's it. That's it.
Closing 20 was way less work for me than closing 5. And so somebody at 20, a lot of people think, well, yeah, but I don't want to work 4 times harder or five
Yeah.
times harder. If I
Yeah.
want to go from 3 to 20, I'd have to work, what is that, like 600% harder?
Yep.
No, you
Yeah.
actually have to do less on more files.
Hey, talk about Henry Ford. You've used that example before, and I think it's a great example because it really puts it in perspective. When Henry Ford built, designed, engineered, bolted together the first car. Tell us that, because it's a
Yeah, so
great
he had
example.
so this was told to me as a true story. Maybe it's a parable. Either way,
Yeah.
it has a great punchline to it, or take home message, that apparently Henry was a fantastic welder, like a tradesman,
Yeah.
right? And that's a skill, right? That's
Yeah.
like an artist. It really is. And so somebody said, "Hey man, you need to go get help if they're going to build this stuff." And he said, "Yeah, but I'm the world's greatest welder." And his buddy said, "Well, go hire the second best welder
Yeah.
and have them help you, and you
Yeah.
could get more car." And in this thing that I read, Henry said that was a pivotal moment in his career, where he thought,
There you go.
even if I think I'm the best, go get the second best
Mm.
to help me out a little bit. And had that not have happened, according to the story, had that not have happened, I probably wouldn't have a Ford F-150 pickup truck in my garage over here, thanks to the second best welder in the world helping Henry out. So if I think I'm the world's greatest pay stub collector, go get the second best pay stub collector and have them help me with that. And I think in doing that, I think in doing that, um, we just have to be okay. Like when we get help, it's not always going to be done my way.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is sometimes they're going to make a decision and they're going to choose something different, and we just
Hmm.
have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's going to be a right okay, and frankly, sometimes it's going to be like, "Whoops, that didn't work out so well," and then they learn from it, and then they go on. But you got to be willing to. My daddy used to tell me when I was a young lad, if you don't skin your knees from time to time, you're not running fast enough.
Yeah.
and,
That's
and,
a
and that is so true. So anyway, so yeah, I think you have to have help on the recharging your batteries. You have got to recharge your batteries.
mm. Yeah.
If you don't recharge your batteries, I mean, you can go for a little while, and then
That's
you'll
where
wear
burnout happens.
you'll
You
burn.
just drive, 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 and what happens, you get to a point of just exhaustion
Yeah,
versus making sure that you're taking the time off. So that's huge. That's a big
yeah.
part. Hey, so
Um,
I've got a handful. So
Tell
here's
me,
what I
what's your
wrote down.
list?
So number one was what I see the difference between a 3 versus a 20 is a 20 loan a month loan officer takes massive action, and it's a little bit messy. And it goes back to the sales. There's not a fear of perfection, but a fear of
Mm,
taking action. It's the ready, fire, aim. But the second thing, which is just as important, is I see the 20 loan officer has embraced and fully adopted a proven plan so that they're not trying to figure it out. They're getting there faster because they've already
mm,
seen what's been working. And instead of trying to recreate it, they're stepping into the proven plan, like our DSP, the daily success plan, which we had two people on the breakfast club this morning, and it was like two of them literally hitting 20 units a month this month because they followed a proven plan. That's part of the difference. Hey, third one's this, Carl. It's the accountability. Somebody who's doing 20 loans a month understands the importance of being accountable to their ideal life and lifestyle, their dream, their freedom number. And instead of seeing accountability as a negative, they're leaning into the community, understanding that this community is, it goes back to this, Carl. If I got to count on me, I'll show up most of the time. I'm pretty good. I'm not excellent all the time. But whenever I tell you, Carl, I'm going to be there, brother, you can, like, I'll jump on a plane. I will take a bullet in my left leg, not only on the left leg, but it's like you can count on me. And so the accountability is huge. I think that community is a big part of it too. And the fifth one I put is this: you got to have massive help. And here's what the difference is. And I think the mindset we see, Carl, from a 3 unit producer to a 20 unit, a 3 unit says, give it to me, I'm going to get it done. A 20 unit producer says, who can do this?
mm.
And that's a freedom point. And so a 3 unit is reactive, a 20 unit producer is proactive. They've got the proven plan. A 3 unit is focused on feelings and emotions. A 20 unit producer understands the math and says, you know what, if I make this number of calls, I have this number of talk tos, I set this amount of appointments, I have this number kept, I follow up over 12 weeks, I'll get 2 to 3 become a focus 40. Like there's no emotion, it's all tactics because the math is
Mm.
proven out. A 3 unit focuses on the urgent. Every day is like an explosion. And a 20 unit focuses on the important, and understands that there's nothing that should be urgent in my day if I've got a proven process that removes chaos. A 3 unit walks alone, a 20 unit lives in community. A 3 unit has no accountability. A 20 unit lives in accountability and understands the importance. So those are some of the things that like it's night and day, but there's a quick evolution or a quick growing through. Somebody who leans in can go from 3 to 20 in less than 12 months.
And something, I tell you something else different between a 3 and a 20 loan
Yeah.
officer is the 3 closings loan officer is making give or take, right?
Yeah.
We don't talk basis points on the podcast
Yeah.
because it depends, where you work and how long and
And structure
how
and
much
all that.
help
Yeah.
and all this
Yeah.
other stuff. But let's just say we're just going to pick across the nation.
Yep.
San Diego more, Ohio less. But let's say you make $3,000 per loan.
Yep.
We're talking about going 9,000 a month, which there's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with that, right?
It's
9,000 a
good
month,
living. Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. But we're talking about going to 60,000 a month.
It's life changing.
Dude, 60,000 is
It,
life changing.
mhm.
60,000,
As
not
Dr.
not just life changing for
Mhm.
your family,
Mhm.
but life changing for other people that you find opportunities to help out,
That's
right?
right.
You're talking about 60 grand a month, brother. Some major mountains can be moved,
Mhm.
with 60 grand a month. I mean
Yeah.
that's a you fly first class everywhere you go.
Yeah.
You get box seats every time you go to a sports. Anytime somebody says, "Hey man, can you help me out?" and it's a good thing, you say
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
right? You say yes. Yeah, that's some life changing money right there. So it's worth the look for me. I had somebody ask me. I was at the Indiana Mortgage Bankers Association yesterday. Super cool group of people, and one of somebody made a comment about something like, "Yeah, but Carl, you seem like like really calm and cool and collect all the time."
Yeah.
And I go, "Brother, that's like that famous story of the duck going across the pond. In the top part that we see, he's just floating across the pond. But underneath, man, those feet are just flipping like mad. And yeah, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it because, so while I might have the um how do you say it? Stress is the wrong word. Well, I might have the like making a lot of offers puts a lot of moving parts in.
Yep.
Um, but then the rest of my life is super chill
Yep.
because I'm not worried about making a payment. I'm not worried about helping my kids go to college. I'm not worried about my retirement. I'm not worried about, well, what happens if the car, what happens if my brother or my sister, my brother and sister, fine. But, just if somebody, hey, they had all those big tornadoes. A very, very
Yeah.
dear friend of mine,
Yeah.
her house gone.
Wow.
Like it was just devastating. And somebody making 60 grand a month can reach out to their friend, say, "Hey, tell me what you need.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
need a motorhome parked outside to live in while you sort through all this stuff at 60 grand a
Mm.
month. You just call a local RV place, you give them a credit card, and you can help people out,
Wow.
knowing that they'll help me out in my time. And when you're making 60 grand a month, you can do that. And
Yeah.
so is it uncomfortable sometimes making all these extra offers? It is, but it makes the rest of my life very comfortable. Does that
Mhm.
make sense?
100%.
Yeah, because
Oh yeah.
otherwise, if I don't make my calls, I might be comfortable not making my calls for that 2 hours. But then the rest of my life, oh
Yeah.
God, what am I going to do about this? And what am I going to do
Yeah.
about that? And this is due and that's due. And what if this happens? And God forbid if I get sick and that's stressful.
Yeah.
And I've had that, right?
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
that's stressful. What would you say? What is a what is likely a 3 loans per loan officer doing that a 20 is not doing?
Oh, that's great. Well, number one, they're not chasing conditions and paperwork and doing any of the busy work on a file. They're allowing somebody on their team to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is what is a three loan officer doing that a 20 is not? A three loan officer is doing a lot of busy work. Like
Yeah.
Carl, I talked to somebody this last week and she said, I am maxed out. This person was doing, I think, 7, 8 loans for the month. And her and I were talking, and she said, Steve, I am maxed out. Like I'm over the limit on hours. And I said, well, just walk me through what you're doing. And you know what was interesting, Carl? Like, here was something we identified real quick. You got to look at your calendar and say, is that an opportunity or a distraction? Did it help me get my last 10
Mm,
deals? Or did it make me feel good because I did it? And
mm,
feel good's good, but you got to know that's charity. And we're good with charity as long as I know that's going to bring in $0 because you and I talk about it. Your time is a printing press. I can print
mm,
$0 bills, I can print $1 bills, or I can print $1,000 bills. And so I said, let's look at it. And she said, okay, I'm a part of this networking group. And I said, awesome. How much time does that take? She said, well, it's an hour and a half and it takes me 30 minutes to get there, 30 minutes to leave. And I said, well, how many deals you bring in last month from it? None. What if we got rid of that? That
mm,
gives you 3 hours. And we looked and there were two more networking groups every single week. Carl, if we just eliminated the three networking groups, it gave her an 8 hour day, 8 hours. So what's a three loan officer doing, or a four or a five that a 20 is not? They're saying if it doesn't move the needle, although it may make me feel good, when I log in and my start time is at, say 8 o'clock and my go time is at 4:30 or 5, if it doesn't make me more money or help me advance what we're building right now, I just have to say no. Carl, I think I talked to a group of loan officers on Monday. You know what the number one thing was? There are so many shiny objects. And I think a three loan officer is chasing shiny objects. A 20 loan officer is saying, I am so focused on selling, leading and building my team, and making sure that I have a clear path to my next step. And so if there's anything that comes in between that, you got to say no and get rid of it because you're robbing your time, and that time while we're plugged in is so precious, and it's what will help you do more in less time. So I think that's the biggest power, is saying no, no to the good, to stay focused on the important that's going to move the needle.
mm.
What about you? You tell me something you think. What does a three loan officer do that a 20 doesn't?
Stress out.
Ooh, talk about that. Like, they're stressed because everything's blowing up.
Yeah. Well, they're stressed because not if, but
Yeah.
when that one deal goes south,
Ooh, everything. They just lost their whole month,
they
like
they
a
just they
third of
just
their
lost
income.
they just lost their car payment.
Yeah, that's it.
They just lost the
Mhm.
college tuition.
Yeah,
They just lost the Disney money on their vacation.
yeah.
Right. They just lost the nice necklace he was going to buy his wife for their anniversary, or the
Mm,
nice watch she was going to buy him for his birthday.
mm.
So um, yeah, they're dude, I've been there. Like they're
Yeah,
stressed out. Where
yeah.
and you're going to lose deals, right? You're
No, for
going to
sure.
like we I find somewhere like application to close runs somewhere around like 80, 81, 82%. Is that kind of
I
normal?
would 100% agree. I was just about to say 15 to 20%.
Okay. So so when I lose 15 to 20% of three is
That's a big deal.
devastating.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
when I lose 15 20% of of
20.
of
It's not as big a
20,
deal. It's
it's
three
it's
out of
it's
20.
yeah,
Yeah,
and we don't want anything to go south, right? We want to help as
sure.
many people we have. We want to have a good
Yeah.
reputation. But hey, look, sometimes the appraisal doesn't come in.
The appraisal, the
Right. Sometimes the
inspection.
inspection come to
That's
find
right.
out the roof is bad.
That's right. That's right.
Sometimes, and we've all seen this,
Yeah,
something comes up that come to find out they just bought a truck and it didn't hit the credit report. I mean, like things happen, right?
that's right.
And well, about 20% of the time things happen.
Yeah.
And so we build in more margin. So a loan
Mhm.
officer having 20 has more margin. They got a bigger boat. So if you
That's right.
take on, if you take on a leak, a big boat can take a bigger leak and not sink the boat. They can make it back to shore,
Yeah.
and repair it. So yeah, I think I think that's contrary to what most people. It's kind of counterintuitive. They think, well, if I'm closing 20, it's more stressful, and actually, it's not. It's way less stressful, dude. I've never had so much chill in my life. We have a team that closes hundreds of loans a month.
Yeah.
hundreds.
Yeah.
And I've never had more chill. Now you go, wait a minute, Carl, you're probably not, you know, putting out the fires with those. Well,
Yeah.
of course not, because how in the world could Henry Ford build thousands of cars if he's the one, putting the steering wheels on, right?
That's right.
You just can't do it. And I think the biggest difference between a 3 and a 20 is the 20 loan officer sees that as her norm,
Mm.
and the 3 thinks he's doing pretty good.
Mm.
And so it's a worthiness thing.
Mm.
It's a
So
capability thing.
good.
I think I'm capable of, like, you take somebody closing 20 here. I just got in fact, literally just this morning, I got a text from Tammy Saul.
Yep.
I think it was 80. Where'd she have it here? 80 even, actually. So she sold 80 deals the month of April, right? 80. Now, if Tammy was to close 3 loans,
Yeah.
she would think, my holy, what?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the not the wheels didn't just fall off, the engine blew up, the brakes
That's it.
shattered, the
Yeah.
steering wheel, somebody stole my stuff. Like the whole car is just all screwed up. And so she would just operate with great
Urgency,
urgency
purpose. Yeah.
on, hey, something's wrong, we got to fix this. And
That's right.
in the minute we close, say 3 or 4 or 5 or even 20,
Yeah.
and we go, what the heck? I'm a 50 loans per month loan officer. What the, like, dude, if our team was to close 20 units for the month,
We'd be in trouble.
we'd be in big trouble,
Yeah.
right? We'd think, oh my God, what happened? And it's simply because of who we hang out with.
Mm-hmm.
We believe we're a couple hundred, loans per month organization. And so it's just resetting that picture in our mind
Mm.
of how we see ourselves.
I like that.
I think that's a big part of it too, is like resetting that, like believing in ourselves that we're
Yeah.
capable, and it's possible and we're worthy. And no matter where I came from, like in my case, lower middle class. Now we were high class as far as ethics
Yeah.
and who we were as a family, right? So I'm
Yeah.
not picking on my family, right? But as far as like economics, we were definitely lower middle class. And it wasn't until I broke that mental image of myself saying,
Mm.
hey, I'm supposed to have a 50-year-old refrigerator in my kitchen. When I let that go, which was a big deal for me, I think you and I have talked about that in the
Yeah.
past.
Yeah.
When I let go of that image, and I thought, no, man, I'm and I want people to understand I'm saying this in a cool way, right? But I believe I'm worthy of
That's
it.
right.
Like my maker, has blessed me and has made that okay. And as soon as we reset that picture in our head and let go of those old chains of that's holding us back, as soon as we cut
Mm.
those chains and go, I'm a I was meant to for great things.
Yeah.
Um, and I really truly believe that. When I don't have great things, I'll figure out what's wrong and I'll make great things happen.
Mm.
Same way some people would look at me and go, Carl, your team only closes a few hundred a month, dude. We're doing 1,000 a month over here. What's wrong with you? If I was closing 200 or 300 or 400, we'd think that the wheels just fell off. And the minute I can plant that in my head, I
Yeah.
too will close 1,000 a month, but not a minute before. That
Mm.
makes sense.
That's great. I mean, it goes back to the mindset and belief,
Yeah.
which is a part of the keys. You got to be able to believe that you can, that you're worthy, that you're enough, and that's a
And it's
big
not
part.
about greed, right?
No,
It's
no, no,
not
no,
greed
no.
because
Yeah.
it's about helping. It's about helping, and I don't want to sit here and it'll sound uncool if I do, but it's about helping other people and
That's
making a
right. That's
difference
right.
and helping other families and yeah, just causes that you feel strong and building schools or
Mm-hmm.
helping people out and just whatever. I don't want
Yeah.
to.
Hey, and listen, Carl, if somebody's listening today, one of the things that I was just thinking about, if you want help, whether you're a 3 loan officer and you say, man, I'm listening to that, and I think with some help, I could get to where we need to go. Or if you're a 20 loan officer and you're saying, man, the wheels are coming off and I might need some more structure to get to the 30 or 40. Hey, go to loanofficersuccess.com, loanofficersuccess.com. We've got these boot camps that are launching that are helping loan officers just like you build structure, build framework, and build something significant without having to be in the middle of it. You fill out like 5 pieces of information, and myself or Krista We'll reach out to you. We would love to help you. It'd be a pleasure to be on your journey, and I'm confident that we could help you take your next step, regardless of where you are. Loanofficersuccess.com. Carl,
By the
good
way,
stuff, man. Yeah.
I saw the results of your last boot camp, and it was
500% increase. Yeah. 100.
500%.
In the
That
first
that
4 weeks, it
sounds
was 267%. By the eighth week, it was 500% increase.
unbelievable difference. That the group as a whole
Mm-hmm.
increased. It was what, 7 loan officers,
Yep.
and their production increased of closed loans. Like
Closed loans,
this is
funded
not
loans.
of leads that I got off of Zillow,
Correct.
right? This is
Correct.
closed loans.
Funded
The
loans.
the, the group as a whole
Yep.
increased by
500%.
500%.
Dude, and we're seeing it like in class 3 and class 4 and class
That's
5. Like
epic.
it's amazing to see the results but it's because of everything we just talked about, leaning in and a
Yeah.
plan and community. And so, hey, you want to know more? Go to loanofficersuccess.com and fill out a couple
Even
piece of
if,
information. Yeah.
even if, in fact, especially if you struggle with that, yeah, but I'm not special. I can't
Mm,
do that.
you can
Especially
do it.
you. That, 'cause
Whew.
those are the people that we really see it moves the needle on. It's
That's
the
right.
ones that come in like, are you sure? Like,
Yeah.
even me,
Yeah.
like I'm telling you, I want you to push disbelief to the side, make a
Mm,
small little decision,
that's it.
just simply call and get some information about it. And
Loanofficersuccess.com. That's it.
com. Pushing disbelief to the side, man. It's a big step.
It's a big step.
It's a
All right,
big
guys.
stone.
Yeah, it is. But when you do, it's a game changer.
It's a game
So
changer.
remember this, anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Just get started. See ya.